for the first time in forever, the show that aims to fill the gaps in all of our watch lists. Last week we took a trip to the 1980s to visit a paranormal classic with Poltergeist, and you can check that out by clicking the link in the description below. But this week it's time for a true underdog tale that came out swinging for its awards season. So pop in your mouth guard, keep that left up. This is $1 Million Baby. Wait a second. I am going to be talking about spoilers for this film, so consider this your warning now.
Alright, you got 20 seconds before this turns into a geyser and it's going to spray all over the front row. 20 seconds, that's all you've got. Now get going.
Say what you want about Clint Eastwood, whether it be his iconic turn as the gunslinger from the 60s Sergio Leone films, or whether he's just talking randomly to a chair. But when he attaches himself to a project, he commits 1,010%. But $1 Million Baby, when it came out in 2004, was yet another sign of Eastwood's dominance as a filmmaker. Prior to this film, Eastwood had already scored himself a Best Director and Picture win with his 1992 tense western Unforgiven. He was also nominated for both categories again in his 2003 crime mystery Mystic River. And then, a year after that film, he came out swinging once more with $1 Million Baby, scoring a win for Best Director, Best Lead Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and the all-important Best Picture. It tells the story of a veteran boxing coach, Frankie Dunn, who begrudgingly takes on a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Maggie Fitzgerald, desperate to make her mark in the boxing world. Due to an already fractured relationship between Dunn and his estranged daughter, Maggie and Frankie spark up a caring bond that will make Maggie forge her own path. One thing I love about boxing is that it is perfect for any underdog to succeed. It's probably one of the least predictable sports out there. You can have the best game plan going in, or the best track record imaginable, but if your opponent scores just one single devastating punch that breaks down all of your defenses, that's it. That's why we see the top guy in the sport change almost on a yearly basis. And $1 Million Baby feeds into that success story. When we meet Maggie for the first time, she's this bundle of optimism and self-confidence. She possesses a drive the likes of which both Dunn and Morgan Freeman's character haven't seen in years. Hilary Swank does a tremendous job in this role, bringing not only the physicality to make her seem like a genuine boxer, but also her tender heart. When paired with Eastwood's trademark gruff and grisly exterior, the two share a very lovely and affectionate bond. And as is common with almost all sport films, especially boxing films, it's not really about the boxing. The reason why this duo works so well is that they're both filling a hole in each other's lives. For Frankie, it's almost like a second chance to care and be there for a daughter, albeit one that isn't biologically his. He has a very fatherly attitude towards everything Maggie does, which is then amplified come the third act. As for Maggie, seeing as her father passed away and her only remaining family are hillbilly trash only caring about the money she pumps out for them, she views Frank as the only person that really cares for her. As for the boxing scenes themselves, Eastwood does a tremendous job at filming them. A lot of the time, the camera rarely steps into the ring. We're typically watching the fight from the outside. Thereby, it almost gives us a point of view from Frankie's perspective. But the actual fights themselves are deeply satisfying to watch, as Maggie absolutely dominates her opponents, dispatching them in seconds. But one thing that did stand out quite glaringly to me was the fact that from the moment that Frankie agrees to become Maggie's coach, it's nothing but success for them both. She's winning matches all over the place, beating her opponents in seconds, and really making her mark, making herself known in her division. But then by the time we reach the 90-minute mark, usually in a story like this, our protagonists have to have some sort of a setback. They have to have something to block their path so that they eventually can overcome. And so when you get to that fight with Billy the Blue Bear, I had a feeling something was going to go wrong. Up until then, the movie was all flow, all flowing positively for Maggie, but there was no ebb in her journey. Now, truth be told, I didn't expect it to go as wrong as it did. During her fight with Billy the Blue Bear, Maggie is blindsided after the bell, causing her to fall onto her neck, hitting the stool, severing her spinal cord. Now, I kind of knew about that, thanks in absolutely no part to Scary Movie 4, of all movies to have seen it from, but I thought that was it. That after that hit, Maggie was dead. But there's still over half an hour left in the film, which, in my opinion, is probably the strongest portion. Maggie is left confined to a hospital bed as her quality of life drastically diminishes every day. It takes hours for her to be moved into a wheelchair, has to have a ventilator attached to force air into the lungs. She even starts to form skin ulcers, causing one of her legs to be amputated. All the while, Frankie sits by her side, caring for her the best he can. This act is heartbreaking to watch. The first two acts do such a good job at getting you emotionally invested in this relationship, in this bond between a sort of pseudo father-daughter relationship, and then when that absolute gut punch happens and you're left with a very, very moving final act, I dare you not to watch this and not have at the very least a tear in your eye. Here is when we see what I genuinely believe is Clint Eastwood's career best performance. The sheer and utter emotional turmoil he experiences, having now to say goodbye to someone who filled that daughter-shaped hole in his life, and being the one to end Maggie's pain and let her sleep, absolutely broke me. What started out as a very enjoyable, albeit by the numbers, sports underdog story, ended up having one of the most emotionally devastating finales I think I've seen in any genre. A couple critiques, if I may. Firstly, and I may get some flack for this, even though it's Morgan Freeman, and even though he does a really good job in this movie, and even though he does beat the shit out of Anthony Mackie with just a single glove and one good eye, I don't know if he's necessarily giving a performance that I would consider to be best supporting actor worthy. I thought he was very good, but Oscar winning? Eastwood also deploys Freeman to narrate a lot of the film, which, and I'm always partial to a bit of Morgan Freeman narration, but I don't know if it really added anything to the movie. In fact, I think it kind of drew away from a lot of the moments. Personally, I just don't think it was necessary. And finally, there's Maggie's family. Now, these are horrible, detestable, vile leeches, just sucking off everything that they can from Maggie's character, which works within the context of the story, but the overall presentation, especially when they turn up at the hospital, almost begging Maggie to sign away the rest of her money, it just felt like they were cartoon characters. It, for me, kind of just clashed with the tone that the movie is already playing out. Overall, I can definitely see why $1 Million Baby did so well at the Oscars. It's not exactly a groundbreaking narrative or has some deeper societal message buried within. It's just a really, really well-directed and brilliantly performed story that will grab a hold of your emotions, refuse to let go, and take you on a roller coaster. So, after watching $1 Million Baby for the first time in forever, it was close to God tier, but I'm going to have to say that it is worth it. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on that film. Let me know, have you seen $1 Million Baby? What did you think of it? And are there any films on your immediate watch list that you are yet to get round to seeing? As I'm sure some of you are aware, we are currently on the road to 300 subscribers. I'm going to be doing a Blu-ray collection as soon as I hit that mark. So if you are watching this video, you have enjoyed yourself, but you are not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and you will, I promise you, you will make my day. And here is a little teaser for next week. Thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, please make sure that you click that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All the links to my social media accounts, my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and my letterbox are all in the description below. And if you haven't liked the video, What are you still doing here?